for Jeff and Peter. So Jeff, you spoke to some of the worst case design scenarios that can add cost to a project. What kind of strategies do you use to kind of steer your owner clients to delivering a more focused solution, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it comes down to communication with the owner and the designer. You need to be clear about, you know, when we're locking certain aspects of the design, and especially with the design build type format, you know, you've got like a rolling pattern of approvals for different design scopes or areas that need to be released at different times. So something where we typically would design flexibility would be, you know, utility distribution or utility capacity, and that would have to hinge on sort of a utility lock date, right? Where you're sort of agreeing a strategy, you're progressing a design based off of that strategy, hopefully with some buffer for changes down the road, but, you know, understanding the changes down the road would have an impact on cost and schedule more so than if you had implemented them up front. So it's an agreement. It's an agreement between the designer and the owner.
Yeah, I think just to add on that, what Jeff was saying about communication, I think is definitely key. A lot of times it's, when we're talking about worst case design, getting the facility program elements in mind at the very beginning. So it's a lot of sitting down and talking to the clients about what this space needs to be able to do, what it needs to be able to accommodate, and getting agreement on that, because that's going to drive a lot of the design drivers for things like HVAC and segregation and personnel flows and stuff like that. And then I think, like Jeff said, if you're going to get changes that are dramatically different for those wholesale manufacturing philosophies late in the game, that's likely going to have pretty specific changes to your whole facility design. So trying to get those locked in early, and not to mean that you have to have the entire, you know, A to Z figured out. I think if there's areas that are identified as being open or being undefined, defining that it's undefined is important too, because then, you know, as a team, we can discuss around, okay, let's talk about, you know, flexibility is a great one, right? How much flexibility do you need? How much should we plan for, knowing that there's maybe some question marks coming down the pipe, and planning for those question marks as opposed to getting blindsided by them as you're going into a permit set kind of situation.